11 months later, the investigation continues into what started the devastating Palisades fire. Investigators believe a fire from just days earlier, the Lockman fire, reignited, triggering the Palisades fire. But was that fire properly extinguished? And whose responsibility was it to make sure it was? Most residents tonight just want answers. Fox 11's Ed Laskos is live in the Palisades and spoke with residents who are frustrated. Ed?
Yeah, they sure are, Laura. Very frustrated because as you were talking, 11 months now, you walk and drive through the Palisades Village. You see this. It's a grim reminder of that deadly fire that ripped through here January 7th. We're a month and a couple of weeks away from that grim anniversary. And now you have brand new evidence out in that class action lawsuit filed by some 3,300 fire victims, fire survivors. They want answers, and those new evidence, the cell phone videos and the pictures point the finger of blame toward the state. Let's get to it. To the video we go. This is some of that brand new evidence that's out as part of that class action lawsuit. It is pictures from up in the Lockman fire zone. This is January 2nd. Remember, that fire started New Year's Day, January 1st. This is the second, the mop-up. It shows L.A. City firefighters and what appears to be a state parks representative. The representative is talking to the firefighters, conferring with them, and now that seems to back up reports we've been hearing that the firefighters were told by that state rep what they could do, what they could not do, because that Lockman fire burned on the state land, state parks land, and that brings allegations that the state has a big responsibility in all of this. Listen to the attorney involved in that class action lawsuit.
Those reports indicate that state park representatives were up there and they were telling the firefighters that they couldn't use a bulldozer to fight the fire. And in the mop-up, they couldn't touch certain plants. The plants were protected. There are reports of state park representatives coming up while the Lockman fire was still being fought by firefighters, saying you can't use a bulldozer to fight the fire, which would have been something firefighters may have wanted to use to fight the fire. And then in the mop-up, they went up there and they had a map and they said, you can't go over here and you can't touch these plants. You can't do anything to disturb these areas.
And now those accusations bringing a very quick, sharp response from the state. Part of their statement, it reads in part, and I quote, "The notion that state parks favors plants over people is ludicrous. State parks never hinders an active firefighting response, and firefighting decisions are up to the responding agency." Stop quote as we come back out here. The responding agency, of course, L.A. City Fire, part of the investigation, huge part of the investigation that has been going on. To that class action lawsuit, the attorneys are expected to back in court first thing in the morning. The attorneys want to have depositions of the firefighters involved and also the state park reps. They want to get it on record, the depositions as to what was said up there on that mountaintop January 1st. January 2nd, what orders were given as this lawsuit and the investigation really moves forward, Laura. And that's the hope from a lot of the folks who've been talking here tonight, that somehow, some way, they're going to get some answers. Just frustrated that it's taken so long after everything they've been through.
Well, Ed, as you're explaining of it, I'm reminded of what almost happens in a criminal investigation. We know this is civil, but really kind of a methodical look at the chain of command, what happened, who said this, what day it happened, and what time. How would you describe it?
Yeah, I think exactly to your point, Laura, that's a very good analogy to make, because it's really about building that timetable. We hear so many times when you follow the legal E's, the legal eagles, timetable, the turn of events, and the depositions, as the attorney was saying, are so important in this case, because you're talking about 11 months already, coming up to a year. The memory starts to fade a little bit. Can you remember what you might have said a week ago this very night? It's difficult, so they want exact quotes, and there's a lot at stake here when you talk about state officials, state representatives, L.A. City firefighters, and down the line of command it goes. So they want to get that on record. Again, very much like the kind of case you described, very methodical, piece by piece, building the evidence, building the timetable.
All right. Thank you so much, Ed Laskos. We'll continue to follow this story.